How many times were you making an exterior scene, got all the materials nicely done, good lighting, just realize that when you apply a road texture, it just doesn't look good and realistic. In real life, roads are full of imperfections. They got cracks, oil marks, patches, tire marks, some trash, among other things. And the textures you can find in Lumion, for example, they look like this. You can go online to find other textures, like this one. They do look better, but it's still not the right one. So now comes the software Quixel Mixer. It's a very intuitive material creation software that uses the Megascans library to create, well, basic any material that you can imagine. Hi, I'm Nuno Silva, and in today's video you will see how easy and fast it is to create a complex asphalt material like this one. Before we start, I would like to invite you to my free training, my top 10 secrets to achieve realistic renders. I'll leave a link in the top right corner and also in the description below this video. Let's go to the Quixel website, and here on the top you'll find products. You can see that they have here the Megascans, but let's click here Mixer. So this is the mixer. You can download immediately this software for free. You can still browse the page and see the video with the features. And when you download and install it, you will find this window. It already has here some materials that you can open and see how they were made. So this is my roads that I've been making. And on the top you'll find here new mix. So let's click here. So let's give it a name. So let's give it asphalt material. And working resolution. This resolution, it will not be the final. So when you finish the project, the material, you can still decide which resolution you want. I find that a good balance, if you have a good computer, it will be this 2K resolution, it's fine. So let's leave it at this resolution and press OK. And so now we have this interface. It's quite simple, the interface, and it's very similar to Photoshop when you are working here in the layers panel. But actually let's go first to this setup. And on the setup, you will find here the type plane or custom model or 3D asset. So this custom model, maybe you want to texture some, let's say that you have like a table or a sofa, you can load the asset here and you can texture directly here. But let's leave it as plain, it will work fine for the road. Size. So a typical road lane can be between 2.5 to 3.5 meters. So let's leave this at 6 by 6. So we have 3 meters for each lane, and the working resolution we're going to leave it as 2K. Then you have other options here for the background, for lighting, performance. You can still tweak these settings, and this is for the export. So let's go here to layers, and here you can see that I'm choosing the 3D view, but you can also work in the 2D view. And you can select different types of HDRIs, so you can see different types of lighting. And you also have other options here, like preview the displacement. So you can disable this if your computer is not handling well the displacement. You can still toggle on and off. You can preview tiling, which is also the T key, so it will see the tiling. And you can also show the grid. So I just keep the displacement. And if you were to zoom out and then you got a little bit lost, you can always press F key and it will go back. So now let's start. We have here surface, we have decals, smart materials, we have solid layers, liquid, noise, and paint. And also we have here on the local library, it's the assets that I already have downloaded. They are on my computer, and you can always go here online. And on this online, you will find all the Megascan assets here, all the atlas, all the decals, all the surface that you can load to work on your material. So let's go here to the viewport. I'm going to go here on the top and add surface layer. And for this one, I already have here this on my computer, road asphalt. So you can load any material that you would like. Again, you just go online and let's say I want an asphalt. I have here already a category, asphalt. You can start with a fine base. So you can start with any of this. You just click, for example, this one. I will click and I'll click download. And so you can see here on the bottom, this bar, it's loading up the map. And now if I go to my local library, you'll see that I already have here this material. So, but I'm going to start with this one for this tutorial. And so I have here my road. So first thing I'm going to do, here in the placement, I will open up this. And here I have the settings for the tiling. And I'm going to make this tile to about 8 times. Or maybe 6. And I'm going to rotate it 90. Actually, about 10 times is better. Okay. And now I'm going to duplicate this texture by just right click and duplicate. And now I'm just going to rotate this texture. So I'm trying to break a little bit the tiling. And I'm going here to the threshold and I'll try to adjust so it blends a little bit with the bottom texture. And I'm going to adjust as well the tiling for this one, maybe to 6. Okay. Now you can see that the tiling is not so visible anymore. Now I'm going to add here a noise layer and I will hold Alt, and if you hold Alt you'll see this arrow. So it's similar to Photoshop, so any effect that I'm going to do on this noise, it will just affect this bottom layer. And so here we can tweak a little bit the settings. So if you were to increase a lot, you'll see that you'll have this effect, which it's not so good for a road. And you can just leave it slightly. You can still adjust the repetitions if you like. But actually for this effect, maybe 2, it's fine. And I just want the frequency, lower the frequency and increase here the octaves. And let's see. Okay, so I want just a slight effect. You can click this eye icon, and if you click it, you'll see that you see the before and after changes. Now I want to get some lines for this road, and we can do this by going here to add decal. Again, I already have this one downloaded, but to download decals you can just go here on the tab online, and then you'll find here decals, and here on decals you'll find huge variety of types of decals that you can add to your project. So let's go back here. I already have this road line here. So now it's repeating, but we can change this. We can go here to tile X. It will just tile on the X, and we can change here repetitions to maybe 18 or 24. Okay, now I can adjust here to 8. Can zoom in and see how it looks. Okay. Okay, now we need more lines, so let's add more decals. Let's go here, add this one. Again, tile just the X. And on this one, we're going to change the offset of the Y. So let's leave it maybe at about here. We can make this one maybe 32, so it's slimmer, maybe a little bit more. Okay, so it's slimmer than this middle one. And here, maybe 12. Okay. And now we're just going to right click and duplicate. And now let's adjust this Y about here. Well, actually we can make it more until here. Same from the bottom. Okay. And by the way, let's say that you want these lines to be another color. You can always do that. Just go here to the albedo and you can pick another color if you like. So let's say something like this. And now you can just copy this X value, just select, copy with Ctrl C, and now go to the bottom one and just paste the new color. And by the way, if you'd like to know more in-depth tutorials, I have 2 courses for both Lumion and D5 Render. I'll leave a link in the top right corner and also in the description below this video. Now I want to introduce a little bit more variation. So let's go here to add surface. And I'm going to add here some old concrete. Let's see, this one, old concrete. So it's repeating too many times, so go here to repetitions and make it maybe 4 repetitions. Still too much, maybe 2. Okay, just rotate this. Okay, and I want to adjust a little bit the color of the albedo, so click here and make a little bit darker, apply. Okay. And I'm also going to make this on the blend from above. Okay. And we're going to adjust this, or else this road will be very, very old. So adjust here on the threshold to be about, maybe about here. And then we're going to duplicate this asphalt here. And just move it up like this, drag. And now apply it just on the bottom, on the old concrete. And we can now go here and adjust the threshold. Okay, let's go here to the old concrete and just make this to tile just one time. Okay, so I'm just adding slight variation. Here I can still adjust a little bit albedo. Okay, so you can see that it starts to break some of these lines here. And this texture now doesn't look with so much repetition. If you press T, you'll see how it tiles currently. And now let's add some of those road cracks. So let's go here to add decal, and I'll find here some, this one, road crack. So we can move this to the side, maybe here, or actually this side. We can increase the scale to 2. No, too much, 1.25. Here we can pick the color of this asphalt, so it matches a little bit better. You can still pick a darker color. Alright, this one looks nice. We can adjust the threshold, so if you want to be here from above and then with the threshold, you can still apply this. Okay, okay, something like this. Okay, it looks nice, this one. Now let's add a new one. Let's add something to break the line in the middle. So this one, increase the size to 1.25, maybe 1.5. Okay. Just going to adjust here the X, maybe here. And now from above, and if you adjust here the threshold, so it starts to appear, this pothole. Okay. So it kind of breaks up this line. You can still adjust here the color. So let's make this one. Okay. And let's continue to add more decals. Let's see. Can add this one. Let's just adjust here the Y and the X and make it from above. And now we can adjust the threshold. Also adjust a little bit the color. We want the color to be different, but not completely different from the rest of the asphalt. So, okay, something like this will do. I'm going to add a new one, a new patch. I want to break just a little bit of these bumps here. Just make it smaller. Again from above, and let's see. Okay. And let's see what else we have here. So we can add this asphalt pothole. So I'm creating a more damaged road, not completely new. So we can double the size and make this pothole more to this side. From above as well. I think it's too dark in comparison to the rest of the asphalt, so we can again pick the color. Okay, I think that looks better. Let's see what else we got here. You can also add this type of things. I'm going to leave it, but of course this is a little bit exaggeration, but just so you know that you can add these things. So let's leave it at about here. Adjust the color. Can adjust here the scaling as well, and just make it just on the side of the road. If you go to the decals again, we can add a manhole as well. And let's try here to adjust the size, maybe 0.25 or maybe 0.5. This one, let's leave it at opacity masked. I think it's still too big, maybe 45. Okay. Now let's add here on the sides some road sidings. So we can go here to the decal and let's see what we have here. We have this one, asphalt cobblestone transition. And we just need to adjust here the tile X. Make it on the side. Maybe just reduce here the repetitions to 1. And here 6. Well, actually more. 18. And 2. Okay, now adjust. And now just duplicate and rotate 180. And let's move it to the other side. Okay, One thing that we can add is on the roadside is always a little bit more dirt accumulated. So we can go to add here decals, and you can find here some leakage. And so you can see here the leakage, so let's move it to the side. So we can make the tiling, and we can tile X. And so I put 10 repetitions on the Y, and now I need to adjust here the Y position. So we can make it about here, where we have this transition. Okay, and we're going to do one thing. We're going to now add, here on the bottom, you'll find paint a mask on this layer. So click, and similar to Photoshop, now we can mask out some elements. We can adjust here the opacity. And so this way, it will create some variation. Okay. Now we can duplicate this one, rotate 180 and move it to the other side. Oops, the repetitions was good, just move to the other side. Okay, on this one, on this mask, I can still paint some of these areas, so we have variation is not the same. Okay, now let's add another thing, another decal, and we have all of this asphalt rubble. We can click, so it will place all of these small stones on the material. Actually, we can the repetitions make it even smaller. Oh, the opposite way, make it to 6. And now let's create a mask. And with a large brush, I'm going to remove most of them. I just want mostly on the sides of the road. So you can see the detail that it creates, this asphalt rubble. So now let's add here another element, which is some leaves here. So this will apply the leaves to everywhere, pretty much. So let's just create again a mask. And with the opacity and flow to the maximum, let's start erasing here on the middle of the road, because these leaves, typically they don't gather in the middle of the road. So let's just erase like this. And now with the opacity in the middle and the flow as well, reduce the size. So we can just erase into some areas. Some make with less opacity. So now basically it's just your creativity doing the work, what you feel it's right. So I'm removing here from this side as well, so it's not completely equal to the left side. So we can see that we have a lot of variation here. And actually I'm going to click here on the material and adjust the repetitions to 5. So we have smaller leaves. Okay. And lastly, I'm going to add a water material, a liquid layer, I mean. This liquid layer is that if you want to have that wet road effect, you can do this. You can adjust here the color a little bit. You can adjust the threshold if you want higher or lower. You can adjust the radius. Here, the surface, the moist as well. So you can do this here. And so in my case, I'm just going to leave about here. It's enough. Just on this puddle here. Okay. And then when you're finished, you can see how this material is repeating by pressing T. Okay. And you can notice that you will see all of these repetitions. So what I suggest you to do is on your 3D model, you cut the geometry into sections like this, square sections, and then you have a material like this for one section. And let's say that the next section, you would create a material that doesn't have this part. So for example, this asphalt patch, so you remove it, and so you'll not notice this repetition so much. This one you also can remove, so you can have one material that is a little bit more clean and another one that has a little bit more damage. And you can also do another thing. So let's say that you divide it into 3 sections. You can even do things like go to the decal and you can add other elements, like for example stop sign. So this stop sign, you can go here, rotate 90, remove the tiling, make the scale to 2, adjust the Y, and you can even paint the same yellow color. And so all of these things, you can create different types of materials using the same base. And so let's just remove this stop sign. Let's go now here to the export. And here on the export, you see that you can select the folder. You can select the name again. And you have the type of preset, so specular or metalness. You can select the textures. So you either select the gloss or the roughness, depending on the type of software that you are using. And then here on the bottom, you'll see that you can select until up to 8K resolution. So in my case, I'm going to select 4K and then export to disk. And so this will start exporting all the textures that you just created, this PBR material. And so here are the textures. So we have the albedo, which is the same as diffuse, basically. And we had ambient occlusion, we had the metalness, this is for the metalness workflow, the normal map, the roughness, and we also have the displacement, but in this case it exports the displacement as this EXR. So what we can do, we can go to Photoshop, we open the file in Photoshop, let's go here to image, mode, and let's load here to 8-bit. And here on the local adaptation, put to exposure, so you can see that there's no difference, and press OK. And now you can save this and save it as PNG. And so this way you'll be able to load it into Lumion or D5 render, for example. And another thing we need to do, in case of Lumion, we need to load both the normal map and roughness, and we need to copy the roughness. The normal, we need to invert the green, add an alpha and paste. And now save it as target. So this is for Lumion to have the proper roughness into the normal map, but we need to save as 32-bit. Okay. Now let's go to Lumion. I already have here one raw material that I previously created, but let's load the new one. So what I'm going to do, first I'm going to make this standard. Okay. Now I'm going to load the color map, which in this case is the albedo. So open up. Okay, now we need to adjust here the tiling. So map scale can rotate, and now so it has to be even less, a little bit. So to about here. And let's load the normal. So this one, which has the roughness into the alpha channel. And lastly, the displacement here. So this displacement, you'll probably notice even better here. Okay, you can see the effect. Let's save. And so now you can see the new material that I added. It's here. And it has this slight wetness effect because we created that liquid layer. And so now you can see here the material I created previously with this Quixel Mixer. And as you saw, it's quite intuitive and fast to create this type of materials. And let me know in the comments if you'd like me to make more tutorials with different materials with this mixer. And I hope you liked this video, and if you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and don't forget to sign up for my free training, my top 10 secrets to achieve realistic renders. I'll leave a link in the top right corner and in the description below this video. And I'll see you in the next video.